church this morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Went for my walk and I'm back. Um, I just can't believe how gorgeous it is, and it was so cool this morning. Hopefully, you have been out and about. As I start this series today, this episode, I know that I struggled once again to write and journal and think of things that I wanted to talk about this week, but for very different reasons. Um, we had a whole week last week where David and I went back to establishing some routines and beginning the process of getting our body minds back to school. I've been more successful at enjoying the tasks and projects. I've also done a ton of listening to work on me. So I'm in a different place this week. And so I want to share some things that I have been listening to and reading. I don't know if I mentioned him last week, but I really encourage you to take a look at the work of Eckhart Tolle, Tolle. Some great things to think about throughout just living, but especially right now when we're getting back to what we want to be normal, but is so not normal. So, you know, as I move through this, I've said all along, with every 2 steps I take forward, I'll probably take 1 back. But that's part of the journey, and that is the beauty of it, really. So today I want to talk about the ego. And it really is just another word, or maybe finally a solid thing to grab onto that Eckhart Tolle talks about, that really is the thing that's in the way of being more mindful, more aware of awakening. So, what is the ego? According to dictionary.com, it is the I or self of any person, a person as thinking, feeling, and willing. We all have an ego then, because we all have thoughts, feelings, and the will to move forward. I've been working on becoming more aware, and I believe achieving this requires delving into my ego. So maybe you can join me, dive into yours a little bit, think about some of these things, and see if anything can help you. I've come to think of my ego as a labeling device. Preconceived notions, pre-existing conditioning, and totally in the way. Now let's take the most obvious form of the ego that we understand. Someone criticizes me for something I've done. The criticism could be meant either as constructive or hurtful, but I'm hurt either way. My reaction is evidence of being trapped in my ego because I think so highly of myself. But how about this form of ego? I'm with a few people. We're complaining about the unknowns facing as we go back to school. Pretty typical right now, probably. All of us are victims, if you will, and each of us have it worse than the next. The ego tells me I'm being victimized. Woe is me. Again, I'm trapped in my ego. The ego can trap us in so many ways. When we are in an argument, why do we have to be right? When we have been hurt, why can we not forgive? When someone looks, acts, or believes differently than we do, why do we judge? Because the ego is hungry. It is never satisfied. The perfect analogy is Audrey 2 in The Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour. It thrives on justification, but that justification is only momentary. And before we know it, what's happening? The ego is taking over our thoughts, controlling our minds. The ego validates who I think I am, and it doesn't care which image I choose. In fact, the ego loves drama. Except, is that truly who I am? Or the better question is that who I want to be? So I'd like to ponder something, pose some open-ended thoughts, possibly for all of us to ponder. Can there be harmony in life without dissonance? Can there be order without disorder? Can you clean your garage without first making the space look like a tornado roared through? This pandemic has caused great upheaval all over the world, and yet, I'd venture to say because of it, there are people just like me all across the globe. People who are seeking the opportunity amidst the chaos to work on who they are. I know there are in people in this town because I see them walk by my house or run by my house almost every day. Before March, when someone asked me who I was, my answer went something like this. A musician, a teacher, a mother, a wife, and so on. But those aren't who I am. They are certainly roles or labels I've given myself, labels that my physical form carry out. So then, who am I? The more I ask the question, the more I answer with simply, I am. I am on the quest to find the person beyond the personalities and past experiences that cause me to judge and label. The person beyond my ego-trapped mind, beyond my physical form. I want to find the essence of who I am so that I may experience life without a preconceived notion or a preconceived experience of what to expect, a pre-existing conditioning. This all goes back to consciousness, awareness, quieting the self-talk or ego. Think about it with food. The discord or hard part about my diet change is that I love salty potato chips, French fries, and crunchy foods. If I got to the point where I just had to have the French fries, what if I ate them consciously? That is to say, what if I ate the first one and savored the flavors like I was eating them for the first time, enjoying the taste and how eating the fry made me feel? In other words, I ignored the ego, which tells me I shouldn't have them or how they taste. I haven't tested this theory, but my prediction is that I would eat 4 or 5 and be completely satisfied. I also think that somewhere along the journey of living, I let unconscious eating take over, which is why I'm overweight and began to develop health issues. Think about that. How many times do we sit down to eat and we're preoccupied with something else? We've got our phone in our hand. I still do it. I keep track of my calories, so while I'm eating, I look through my phone and I type in the things I'm eating instead of enjoying the food. Do you have forbidden food? Try the theory out. I'd love to hear your results. Let's take this one step farther. What if we approached this upcoming school year consciously, as if it was our first? Because let's face it, those of us in it, students and teachers, are going to feel like it's the first time we've ever been there. What if we told the ego, which wants to fill our heads with all sorts of past experiences to compare this year with, to take a hike? What if we use this adversity, this change, to awaken and approach the new year with only the conscious awareness of the present? Don't for 1 minute think that because I've reached the point where I am even pondering these thoughts that I've got all the answers or that I'm going to be perfect in my approach to this school year. Not. If God and Christ are your center, or if Buddha or whoever you have your beliefs in, this would be the perfect time to let your faith take the wheel. In my own life, I believe the books, the articles, the videos, the podcasts, and the people, locally, globally, that have touched my life over these last few months have been God's tools to deepen my understanding of how I fit into His universe. I'm in His capable hands, and I don't need to have all the answers. As I heard in a podcast this week, not knowing is freedom. I'm not going to say any more about that. Let me just repeat it. Not knowing is freedom. Here's to a week of discovery, folks. God bless.